Thank you very much for inviting me today, and congratulations to all, in particular Jane, for putting this amazing event and much needed event and timely event together. And a happy Hanukkah to all those who are celebrating. Here I'm representing today as a Sikh person of faith and of colour, coming from a migrant family in the UK. Today I'm based here in Switzerland, Geneva, and coming from a migrant family, I thought continued the tradition of being a migrant. Dr. Reverend McQueen's words, Derek McQueen's words were struck a strong chord with me in particular, and I will be talking from my personal experience, as how does community shape faith, or faith shape community? And growing up in a diaspora community, in a Punjabi community, I would very much say that often that the community has used or has shaped the faith, and the faith has not yet diluted into the community. The Sikh faith, or Sikhi, teaches equality for all, and that's why we use the expression Sarbat Ka Bhala, for everyone's well-being. Yet the faith also came at about a time to advocate for equality between all people, between all genders, and to abolish caste and religion, sexism, hate, any form of religious discrimination. Today in our culture, in particular in Punjabi culture, you often find high levels of gender inequality, of casteism, of colorism, of religious discrimination against other religions. Yet these are the basic teachings of our religion that go against these values that the Punjabi community would hold. Often as Sikhs as well, or as Sikhs, we get confused as being drinkers, or as being loud and gregarious, but those are values again of Punjabi faith, of the Punjabi community, sorry, not Punjabi faith, of the Punjabi community. And often you see this in the Punjabi culture diluting into Sikhi. Growing up, I grew up in a British, in the UK, in a diaspora community, working class, where often I was told to behave, my mannerisms were always quote unquote masculine, so to speak, that I should always behave and act more like a man and man up. And this is both in the British community and in the Punjabi community. Yet often I found that my faith did not teach me that. There was nothing in the faith that would say that we should man up or behave, that men should behave in a certain way, that women should behave in a certain way, that there was equality between, in fact, there was equality between both, or is between all genders. And I think this is what we need to challenge within the Punjabi community, or within Sikhi as well, is to prevent this dilution coming in, or because what we see more and more now, up until recently, there was interfaith marriages were practiced within Sikhi, or there was interfaith marriages, and now we see more and more of this pushback. And in the UK now, interfaith marriages in Sikh temples are being banned, are not allowed. And whereas this was not part of our part of the Sikh way of being, everyone was welcome to come into the temples and have interfaith marriages. So we have this coming in as well. And my fear is that more and more of this Punjabi culture may dilute into Sikhi more and more, as those who are, say, or think they are, or they're given permission to be, forebearers of our faith. And in particular, and often these are cisgendered men. And we need to see that in the Sikh faith, that, who do we allow to be forebearers, or to be holders of our faith, and who and how can they uphold faith that ensures that it is inclusive for all. I think what also I really liked about and I'm talking about Punjabi culture in a very sort of toxic way or a very negative way, but I want to talk about the negative, the positives parts. There are some beautiful parts as well. And perhaps from the cultural perspective, being Punjabi and being Sikh, this idea of family, where do I belong? Now, in Punjabi culture, there's this tradition that I've often seen practiced where we have our chosen family. This person is like my mother, this person is like my father, and this person is like my grandfather. So you have this thinking of chosen family. So you may have moved away from your biological family, but you have your chosen family too. And quite often this is what I find is this is very similar to the LGBTIQ plus community. This idea that we have our chosen family, and that this tradition also exists within Punjabi culture as well, that I can have a chosen family and that I can build my chosen family. And this is what we've done with Sarbat, that Sarbat is also your chosen family. And some of those traditions that exist in Punjabi culture can actually exist within the LGBTI Sikh Punjabi community too. And I think that another discussion needs to also happen. I mean, because Sikhism is very, very new. It's only been around as, for 551 plus years with the incarnation of our first guru, and then with the Khalsa Panth being formed only 321 years ago. So I think, Sikhism is very new in this journey, and so is, and then we're growing in a culture, we've grown up in a culture that has shaped us, or is trying to shape us as well. We need to sort of make sure that the inclusion part of to ensure Sarbat Ka Bhala ensures everyone. Coming out as a Sikh queer person has been a challenge. I think in my particular journey, I would say that what Dr. McQueen's words resonated with me was, where did I belong? I think, up until after coming out, I realized that, Sikh could never have me, or I could never be part of the Sikh faith. And the more I sort of moved into working on LGBTI rights and LGBTIQ plus rights inclusion in the workplace, I learned more about identity and how identities are on a spectrum. Growing up, I always struggled with being, am I Punjabi or am I British? Am I Sikh or I'm not Sikh? Am I gay or am I straight? So there was always this sort of conflict. And coming across this whole idea of being LGBTI is on a spectrum allowed me to also revisit the ideas that, yes, my faith is also part of a spectrum. These other identities I hold are part of a spectrum, and they're living. And that allowed me to sort of come back to my faith and say, well, hang on, my identities are a part of me. They're not something that are added onto me, that I can change, that I cannot be. And it allowed me to sort of explore the ideas of that this is that who I am vis-a-vis my relationship to my faith and to my other parts of my identity are living. It's not something static, and they grow and they expand and they extract. And this idea of identity is sort of vibrating came to me as, and also links back to the idea that I was always told, it's hard to translate this into English, but in Punjabi, I was always taught that that Vaheguru, or the Supreme Being, it resides in us all, and it vibrates us in us all. And taking that thinking also allowed me to say, well, our identities vibrate in us as well. They expand and extract, they move. So I think here, what we need to do is ensure for the Sikh faith and Punjabi faith is, how do we have that dialogue together to ensure that we continue to have those values of sarbat, and which means for everyone, and not ensure that only protects some people and say, well, you have to abide by X, Y, Z, and these rules are set by particular people, instead of having a dialogue and conversation for us all. So for you all, thank you.